All right, so let's start this broadcast with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. This is the 8th straight day that the state of Israel has carried out repeated air raids on the Palestinian territory of Gaza Strip. Now, the humanitarian crisis is getting worse by the hour. At this moment, as we speak, there are 2.3 million people in Gaza, ordinary Gazans, who've been denied access to food, to water, to electricity and to fuel. These are some of the desperate scenes that are playing out on the streets of Gaza. The worst time of the day is, of course, the night time, when Israel intensifies its air raids into the Gaza Strip. Now, Hamas has ordered for the people to, in fact, stay put on their land. However, several people are scrambling through the rubble to try and find their loved ones who are buried underneath the rubble of the buildings that have been smashed to smithereens in the air raids and air bombings carried out by the state of Israel. People are struggling to find space in the hospitals. The hospitals in Gaza are running at capacity. Most of them are running out of medicines, and most of them have also run out of electricity and fuel. Israel has not stopped bombarding several areas in Gaza. In one incident, an Israeli strike, believe it or not, hit a group of Palestinians who were fleeing from the northern part of Gaza, because the Israelis had told the people in the north part of Gaza to evacuate to the southern part of Gaza. They had told them the routes that they should take, and these people were taking the very route that the Israelis had suggested, and yet came under attack. These are heart-rending scenes of young children, young babies being pulled out from underneath the rubble, of children crying because of the deprivation that they face, of people who are struggling to survive at this moment. So Israel continues with its bombardment of the Gaza Strip. The conflict between Israel and Hamas is now in its 8th day. More than 1.1 million Gazans have been advised to flee to the southern part of the Gaza Strip. The Israeli deadline is coming to an end as a possible ground offensive looms large over the Gaza Strip. The residents in northern Gaza received a 24-hour notice from the state of Israel yesterday. The United Nations rubbished this and said that logistically it was simply not possible for people to flee in a span of just 24 hours. 1.1 million people were asked to flee. For its part, Israel has mobilized an estimated 360,000 soldiers and reservists. It has gathered tanks and has surrounded the Gaza Strip. To put this in context, the Russians, when they invaded, in the initial days of the invasion, when they invaded into Ukraine, had not mobilized 300,000. They did that with a lesser ground force. But the Israelis have now got 360,000 soldiers and reservists who are sitting along the fence of the Gaza Strip, waiting for the orders to move in. The Israeli message has, of course, spread huge amount of panic and confusion amongst the beleaguered people in Gaza. Remember, it is the civilians, innocent civilians, who have been caught in this mindless violence who are paying the ultimate price. And for many people, this has brought back the memories of Nakba. Nakba is an Arabic word which means catastrophe. It refers to the 1948 wars and the massacres, which resulted in thousands of Palestinian people getting killed, and many hundreds of thousands of them, at least an estimated 800,000 of them, who were forced to flee from their homes and villages as they were burnt and pillaged by the Israelis. At this moment, the Hamas group has asked the residents to not flee from their homes. It has asked them to stay put and hold the ground. It has also added that it's just an Israeli war tactic. Now, experts predict that Israel's aim is to destroy Hamas's infrastructure and eliminate all of Hamas's military capabilities. Now, a ground incursion is expected to include house-to-house fighting and also search operations. It also carries a huge risk to the civilian population. Another task with the Israeli forces is to try and rescue the 150-odd Israeli hostages who are currently in the custody of Hamas. The reports indicate that Hamas is expecting Israel's attack, and Hamas is expected to use its network of tunnels to try and slow down Israel's deadly offensive. In 2014, the Israeli infantry battalions had suffered heavy losses from the anti-tank mines, snipers and ambushes that Hamas had laid out. However, the loss of civilian lives remains the biggest concern. Another question here is how the Israeli Defense Forces are planning to differentiate between civilians and Hamas. Because this, remember, is going to be one of the most difficult aspects of this entire process. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.